Guys, there is so much WWE news today that my head wants to spin. But let me tell you this, and I'm sorry if the picture isn't the greatest. I'm recording this in low quality. That way I can get this video up as soon as possible to you. This is crazy stuff. An unexpected end to SmackDown with triple threat match for WWE Fastlane. I'm going to make a bit more interesting. Shane McMahon adds Baron Corbin or Dolph Ziggler. The winner will be added to the Fatal 4-Way for the WWE title at Fastlane. This has spawned so much commentary from people about, Corbin winning. Somebody said Corbin could win. That makes no sense. I mean, it's Nakamura. It's supposed to be Nakamura versus AJ Styles. Why in the world would one of these guys win the championship? I mean, then what would happen with AJ Styles versus Nakamura? I mean, it would happen for Nakamura would get to face the champion, so then it would go to Nakamura versus Baron Corbin? Like, that's stupid. Or make that a triple threat with AJ Styles getting a rematch? That's stupid as well, so can't believe that would happen. You think they'd really take the belt off AJ Styles and then give it back to him before Mania and then have them? I mean, that would be really stupid as well. So most people believe this is just so somebody can take a pin. I would like to believe that you would, because is it whoever they hate more that's going to go in this match, or who do they respect more? Maybe they feel that one of these guys would make the match better, and I don't understand why that is. Perhaps, Baron Corbin in this match would be dog piss. I wouldn't care at all if Baron Corbin was in the match. It's completely nonsensical to me. It's completely ridiculous. Putting Dolph Ziggler in the match, I guess, would help in a way, but why? It's just so unnecessary and weird. It almost feels like it was to generate more news for a reason. I mean, I really can't think of many of the reasons why, they would do this. AJ versus Nakamura for the world champion belt at Mania is what's best for business. What the F is this other junk? Says Sean in the comment section. There's so many comments about this. Really getting bored of every second title match being a triple threat or fatal 4-way. 20 minutes of pins broken up by someone else. In half of the match, one or two wrestlers are either laid out in the corner or on the floor. I realized the need for it back when rosters were so deep with talent you needed 3 people in the ring to get everyone at the top airtime. Roster's not that deep in talent anymore, says Scotty. Missed the boat. I think the rosters are pretty deep, but they're not deep. They're not deep enough with top talent at this point, and there's just no real reason. Shane McMahon trying to one-up Bryan. So it seems like also that they're sort of still, look at this guy. It seems like they're still kind of playing into this Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan story that I don't care about. Like, again, if these two guys end up stepping in the ring and fighting each other, well, then this is pretty cool. But because I have no hint of that really happening at all, I can't believe. Look at this fit picture of me. I look like a psychopath, and I like it. I like it, and I'm going to keep it. But I just don't care because I don't believe that these guys are actually going to step in the ring and do this. I just can't fathom it. I can't believe it. None of it's believable to me, and therefore I can't subscribe to the idea of this happening. So, it's not interesting to me. Now, other reports coming out by Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer commenting on the other big story is this. Now, there's a lot of big stories, and I'm probably going to make a separate video later, but let me talk about this now. Dave Meltzer coming out saying that TYE Dillinger is basically being off TV, and they're just sort of pushing the whole 10 thing everywhere, like as a goof. But they don't want him to get over. They don't want him to be, they don't want the 10s. They don't want the crowd cheering 10 anymore, which is, here we are with the Wade Barrett situation again. I mean, because TYE Dillinger was doing pretty goddamn good with this 10 thing. We thought maybe something crazy would come out. And that's crazy. By the way, on a random note, Jimmy Garoppolo just became the highest paid player in the NFL. Breaking news, 49ers have reached an agreement with Jimmy Garoppolo to become the highest paid player in NFL. Oh, my God. Listen, I'm going to talk about that in a separate video on Corrupted, so I'm going to plug my other YouTube channel now. For those of you that don't know, let me clear this up. Corrupted is Corrupted podcast takes place on Saturday nights, pretty much on Sunday morning, 1 a.m., on my Patreon account. To hear it, you need to be at least $1 a month Patreon, which is not a lot of money, and we need your support, so hop on over there. But we also have a YouTube channel called youtube.com/corruptedpodcast, which we go under the name Corrupted Entertainment. Corrupted Entertainment is free, and there's tons of videos that I'm going to be putting up on there. There's parts of the podcast that are going to go up on there, and you guys can go sub to that if you want. I am going to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers in a video over there in just a little while. Look for that to be up in a few. So there's my plug for that. Plus more about the SpaceX launch and Elon Musk and all that stuff. The spaceman, the car, the re-entry by the Rockets. There's so much cool stuff that's been going on this week that I haven't been able to get to, but I've been watching everything that's going on as it happened. Anyway, and there's an audio vlog up on Patreon right now for you $5 patrons. Back to the Tye Dillinger thing. Tye Dillinger could have been a lower mid-card to mid-mid-card to top mid-card. But right now, he's a non-existent mid-card. He's a freaking soda guy, like the guy that comes on and says, hey, these Quiznos sandwiches are pretty, I give them a 10. And then he goes to house shows and stuff. He is getting close to Mike Bennett territory right now. This guy, okay, I can understand Mike Bennett being relegated right now and almost doing nothing, although they kind of didn't really give him much of a chance. They gave him a slight chance, something didn't work once, and then he went away forever. But Tye Dillinger had been racking up wins, as I would call it wins. He racked up wins in NXT when he was there originally. He won the crowd over even when he was supposed to be heel. That's another win in my opinion. He comes out there and becomes one of the most liked characters in NXT. That's another win. He then eventually gets called up to the main roster. That's a win. He's over with the roster. That's a win. You have the crowd cheering his 10 thing during the referee's count. That's a win to me. I don't think WWE sees it a win. And despite all that, you can still joke around with him and it's still a win, but now it's not a win. He's not getting wins because he's not allowed to get wins. He's hidden. He got jumped in the Rumble. They made a joke about his 10 spot in the Rumble, then he got jumped. They are so done with Tye Dillinger at this point, and that freaking pisses me off. Put this guy on Raw. If you're not going to use him on SmackDown at all, put him on Raw, because that fucking has 3 hours. I could deal with a Tye Dillinger match and some kind of Tye Dillinger storyline on Raw for like at least 8 to 10 minutes every week, as opposed to him not being on television, and put somebody that you wanted to get airtime on Raw. You know, what are they doing? What is going on? Or honestly, send him back to NXT. That way I can cheer for him the way I want to cheer for him. I want to cheer for Tye Dillinger. I want to cheer for this guy. And they're taking that away from me, and that's pissing me off. Okay? And I wonder if they're doing it because of Rusev Day now. I wonder if they saw that, like, hey, Rusev is our guy. You know, he's not the NXT guy. Rusev is our guy that we created up here, and he's getting over with this Rusev Day thing. And I wonder if they're worried. They're like, well, we don't want someone doing a 10 thing, so, like, let's make sure to keep him off. But they were doing this before the Rusev Day thing happened. But they've also done this with Wade Barrett, who got himself over with the Bad News Barrett thing, and they stuffed him in a closet. Zack Ryder got over. They stuffed him in a closet. I mean, it is on and on and on, with the WWE killing its own creation. I mean, go to that Vince McMahon NWO clip in the mirror, and it is spot on with the WWE killing its own creations, or killing what the fans created, or killing what the fans reacted to when it was supposed to be something. Like, it feels like sometimes the lower mid-card, the guys are so desperate, they're like, come on, let me do this thing. I came up with this Rusev Day thing. And then they're in the back like, that's all right. That I guess that kind of could work. Go do that. We don't care, and that's kind of what happens. And then the guy goes out and does it, and it gets over with the fans. And then all of a sudden, they're in the back, and they're like, "Well, what the fuck? Like, we don't want this to happen right now. We're doing all these other things. Fuck him." You know what I mean? Or they're in the back and they roll with it. You know, I mean, they have two options. But the bottom line is they didn't intend for this to work like this. There's no way they did. And most of these times you find out when a wrestler leaves the company, or when a wrestler gets on an interview and is able to shoot a little bit, you find out that basically no one gave a shit that they were going to do this. They had nothing for them. They were a lost cause. And the wrestler was like, I'm going to try to save my own fucking shit, save my own career here, and I'm going to come up with something. And then Rusev does, maybe. I don't know who came up with Rusev Day. Maybe somebody else did. But my opinion is if you came up with Rusev Day and you pitched it at a top level, it would be basically said that's stupid or like no. But or if the guy was like a top, like a top high mid-carder or a high, main eventer, stuff like that, those guys would be told like, no, don't do that. And if you were, a lower superstar, but I almost feel like because Rusev was lost in the abyss, we've heard this many times from other wrestlers and former wrestlers that said, can I just do this thing I want to do? And they finally let them do it, and then it gets over. Even Naomi. Look at Naomi. All of a sudden, Naomi and the Usos have some kind of pull in the WWE because they wouldn't let them do anything before. And all of a sudden, they got pulled, but the difference is WWE got behind them with it. Like Naomi. Naomi had been pushing years, she said, for that glow gimmick. And they didn't see it. And finally they let her do it. And it's worked for her. You know what I mean? Because without it, Naomi would just be Naomi. She has a little flair to her. Now it didn't take over the company. It didn't make her, become the top female superstar. But it did add something positive to her. It did take her up a notch. It did. You have to admit that. And she came up with that shit. You know what I mean? She came up with that. What was the WWE going to have for her? Probably nothing. Because they're not fucking creative enough anymore over there. The goddamn wrestler had to fight for something, and they got it. I mean, back in the day, the wrestlers that fought for stuff, it almost felt like wrestlers would fight for things week to week and then get it. Where nowadays, the wrestlers fight for things, and it takes months for it to fucking manifest itself. But it's funny that many of these things come up from the wrestlers. The Yes movement from Daniel Bryan, that all comes from the fans mostly, and Daniel's weird connection. Wade Barrett's Bad News Barrett thing, I don't know who came up with that, but they did it. And then all of a sudden they dropped it. He got injured too. I think something happened with that. I think that pissed them off. I think they sort of Bill Belichicked him. They were like, you know what? You got injured, you fuck. Like when we finally pushed this shit for you, and you got injured, fuck him. And they kind of forgot about it. I will say that there's a little bit of a smell of a Bill Belichick with stuff, and I'm a Bill Belichick fan. I mean, I'm a Patriots fan, but it's I'm from Boston. But sometimes there's a vindictiveness. Like it almost feels like it. Like, hey, we put effort into you, and even though through no fault of your own you got injured or something else happened, you're still taking the fall for it. So F this, you're done. And I don't know if that's true, but it feels like that way sometimes. It feels like sometimes you need to give people a second or third chance. And sometimes it feels like sometimes they get one chance. And if you go back and look at some other wrestlers who developed in these ways, they got multiple chances. They did something and it sort of didn't get a response. The second time it did, and then the third time it was over. And if they had stopped on it those few times first, you never would have seen what could have happened. Just like Elias Sampson or Elias. You could put him out there with the guitar. He's not doing a very good job on the guitar. It's not that funny. People aren't really even reacting that much. They're booing it. But, he is, as I said, he is picking up steam. And then I'm telling you, the night after WrestleMania, it's gonna be popping for Elias. Guys, what do you think about everything I said here? Don't forget to subscribe down below for your daily wrestling content, plus the podcasts here, plus monetize this tomorrow night, playing some PUBG today, Patreon bonus stuff up for you guys that support the channel. We need your support on Patreon. If you can become a patron, we need your help. I need your help. Patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. Some people are becoming $5 patrons. Some people are becoming $2 patrons. We're at 275 patrons right now on Patreon, and we need to get back to 300 hopefully to help us out. That being said, you guys fund the show, so it's important. And if you want to donate live, that's another way to help the show when we're live. I'll monetize this non-wrestling show, or on Out of Nowhere, the wrestling show on Wednesday that we do live from YouTube now. And that's it. Otherwise, if you want to subscribe to my other YouTube channel to hear non-wrestling stuff, that's youtube.com/corruptedpodcast. Also, I'm going to be launching a new format on my gaming YouTube channel where I'm going to be covering mostly Battle Royale style games. So PUBG, Fortnite, and then so on. Red Dead Redemption, I believe, is coming out with a Battle Royale format. So we're going to try to cover everything in that sort of genre. That shooting Battle Royale genre is going to be the main focus, plus other games, but those will be the main focus, along with, maybe Diablo 3 and some other things, over on my gaming channel, which right now is called Joe Cronin JCS Gaming. That's youtube.com, and it's JCS Gaming. Hopefully you can find it. It's like my face in yellow is the logo. But I will be naming that something different soon. I don't have a name yet, but I'm coming out with a theme, and that will be another venture I'll be doing, which will take up about 3 to 5 more hours a week of my life, to put more effort into another thing. So you'll be able to get tons of gaming stuff from me, my wrestling content here, the corrupted stuff, which is all non-wrestling stuff that's not gaming, and then, of course, all the bonus stuff that's on the Patreon. So those are the 4 things that I'm involved with, putting in about 25 to 55 hours a week, depending on the week. It can really vary. Some weeks it's 50 hours, some weeks it's 20 hours. Depends on how much content we're doing. But yes, hope you guys enjoy everything. I'm out. What do you think about all this crap? Leave it down below.